put record. Wrong button. Wrong button. Good God. There you go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. This message is detailed for a particular group of people. I'm doing this message for some cities in the South and other places. More specifically, I'm doing this message for my hometown, Itta Bena, Mississippi. Itta Bena, Mississippi, along with these other cities and towns that I'm going to address, is experiencing poverty. Money isn't there, the infrastructure is crumbling, and what is happening in my hometown is happening in many cities across this nation. But I know the people in my hometown. I know Mayor Thelma Collins, who serves without a paycheck because she loves her city. I know the city councilman, all the way from my friend Deborah Hudson to my other friend Mr. Parnell. I know the people, even Attorney Willie Perkins and the chaplain. I know these people. They're very important to me. But I'm not just speaking to them, because the problems that exist in Itta Bena are the problems that exist all over the Delta. It exists in Greenwood. It exists in Money. It exists in Browning. It exists in Chula. It exists in Mount Bayou. It exists in Mississippi. It exists in Cleveland. It exists in Grenada, Jackson, Greenville, Sidon, Moorhead, Valley State, Alcorn State, Delta State, Port Gibson, Fayette, Natchez, Vicksburg, the Gulf Coast, all over the place. Mississippi is known as one of the poorest states of the Union. One of the poorest states in the Union. I was down there a month ago, and I wanted to address some of the issues, but I had a little situation where my sister passed, and I was just on vacation. My sister passed, and we had to deal with the funeral on that vacation. My daughter had an emergency where she had to go to the hospital for a few days, and even I had an emergency. And so I couldn't really do anything, but I did get a chance to talk to a radio station. I believe it was WGNL out of Greenwood, Mississippi. And I talked to the city council and the mayor in Itta Bena. But other than that, my plan had been to come back in the end of August. And so I would want to gather in as many people as possible and share with them what I have determined the way out of this predicament. I also wanted to be there because they were having a class reunion for my classmate and others who came from Amanda Elsie High School. From now they're living all over the nation. And I wanted them to be there so they can hear this presentation and take it back to those places where they live. I also want to give this message for Detroit, Michigan. You know, they say Detroit is going through extraordinary times. So is it happening in Teaneck, New Jersey? And I'm sure there are other cities. Definitely happening in New York. Definitely happening in Chicago and LA and Missouri. All kinds of places like this. I'm coming to you, ladies and gentlemen, because it's very important to me. I'm a social scientist. And to make a long story short, as being a social scientist, I can tell you is this. It's the study of human interaction with a purpose in mind. Now, my purpose has been to find out what causes these problems. I see the problems every day. I've seen them all my life. But how to end it has been my concern. And ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you today, I sit here and talk to you because I know what the solution is. And I have been speaking about the solution for years and years and years. I spoke about the solution on the streets of cities and states across this nation. I've spoken about the solution in pulpits in cities and states across this nation. I've even found it necessary and more beneficial to commit crimes against the state of Minnesota, going to court, hoping that from the witness stand in a court of law that I might be able to get this message over. And to this date, I have not seen anything work positive for you, the people. But I want to talk to this group of people and tell you this. There is a solution to your problem. Most of you don't know it because they don't teach it. They teach the system how to maintain the system. And this is exactly what's going on. All of our lives, the only thing we have been doing is maintaining a system of destruction. What we all need, what we all hope for, is freedom. In freedom, we know our dreams can come true. In freedom, we know there will be peace, there will be prosperity, there will be joy. In freedom, there is no fighting to kill. Freedom is not free. Freedom has a price. And that price is a commitment. A commitment to what? To the teachings that we've been taught how to maintain the system. No, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the message. But let me share this message with you. And all of you who are listening to me, I want you to take this message. And I want you to share it with your friends. Anybody you know in any of the cities that I've just mentioned, any of the towns, any of the states, forward this video to them so that they might get the same message. This message is a calling out, not just to teach, but to call you out to do something, to act in a way that will make these solutions happen. Now, how do I want you to view the solution? Look at it like this. In the beginning, there was a power unseen that created all existence. It created everything above the earth that's seen and unseen. Everything that's on the earth, seen and unseen. Everything that's in the earth, seen and unseen. Created you and I, that same power, seen and unseen. But as it created the earth and put all of the resources necessary that humankind might ever need within the earth, on the earth, above the earth, seen or unseen, there was also something put inside of humankind. A desire, an aspiration, a gift, a talent, a skill. Something to do in this body while being on this earth. To serve a purpose, to participate. Now, in so doing, let me show you the expression of that. Out of just that alone, we have been able to build shelter for people. We've been able to provide food for people. We've been able to provide clothing for people. We've been able to create, establish by humankind all of the things that exist on this planet that you know we made. We made it. We made it. God, the unseen power, set it up that way. That whatever we want from the beginning of time to this day, we had the skills within us. And continuously as time passed, our aspirations develop and grow. And yet there are children constantly being born into this world with new gifts and new ideas to take us to higher heights if they are not aborted. But yet, that is God's plan. For us to live in peace, for us to be prosperous, for us to be joyous, that we might have always food, clothing, shelter, that we might have education unlimited and unrestricted, that it might be there to guide us, to teach us that which we do not know, to make it easier for us to be better at whatever it is we have been given to do. Not only that, but health care. From the womb to the tomb, the master designed that should be a priority. And it all exists. It all exists. All of it exists. That was the original plan. That was the way to peace. That was you and I being representatives of that unseen power that shared our knowledge and respect for that unseen power through the way we cared for one another, the way we looked out for one another. And every last human being, not just in these cities I mentioned, but in every city, every town, every state, in every nation, in every continent, could live as though they were in heaven. That was the master's plan. That's that power that is unseen. But ladies and gentlemen, something happened, and let me tell you what happened. You remember the story of a man and a woman in a garden? They think they were called Adam and Eve. And there was a voice in that garden that had already tried to obstruct heaven, take over, and had been killed. Killed means they were kicked out to a different level of understanding. And here they were in the garden talking to these people, saying that you will not surely die, knowing the difference between death as these people perhaps had perceived it, and we don't even know if they understood death at all. There's nothing, no knowledge, no information given. And yet, this power that is corrupted these people in convincing them to discard God's way, to discard what I have just given you, and take your focus off that unseen power. You can't see it, but put your power on that which you can see. Put your faith in this which you can see. And from that day on, humankind have been lied to, have been abused and cheated. And since that day, there have been schemes that have been worked backwards and forth to take and deceive men even more. Well, since men have an innate respect, a recognition of a power unseen that is responsible for so much, this lying, deceitful power came up with a method to get your mind off of that unseen power. See, the unseen power made it possible for you to have any and everything that you want. The method for having any and everything that you want, outside of all of the things that I have just articulated that the Master had prepared for us, was to give each of us a career of our choosing. Not just a job, working for somebody for whatever their ambitions and aims are, but a career of our own choosing, where we have been qualified with through our creation, that we might participate joyously, not going to work, but going to have pleasure in our lives, and in the process of creating everything that we need. But that liar says, take your mind off of God. Put your mind on money. And this lying, deceitful devil created money. I know people say money isn't evil. It's how it's used. Money isn't evil. How it's used. But what was it used for? To do evil. Its birth is to do evil. You heard it said that it's a means of measure. No, it was a means of robbing. I know you don't want to believe it, but it is the truth. Now, how do you defeat this devil? Because the whole world is wrapped up in it. And in this wrap, we have crime and violence, we have war, we have terrorism, our prisons are filled, we have police killing people, you got the military killing people, you got all of the things going on. How do you defeat it? It starts in these little cities, in these little towns like Mississippi, like New Jersey, Illinois, big cities, but where the masses is concentrated in certain areas where people who have always been considered filth, blacks and natives and minorities. That's where the resources have been sucked out for others who say that they are better, are entitled to more, deserve more. Here's the way to beat it. You've heard me. Every last one of you are as important as anybody on the face of the earth. But you are no more important than anyone on the face of the earth. And your peace, your freedom that you desire is rested in the hands not only of yourself, but everybody else. Now that you know that God intended for you to have the things that you desire, for your dreams to come true, and that you've been ripped off and robbed by a con artist, a scammer, a Ponzi scheme organizer, all of these pyramid schemes, all of these lines and talking about investment, all that stuff is a bunch of junk from the pit of hell. What you need to do is start talking to one another. Start talking to your neighbors. And wherever you go, start spreading this news that God made you free and the devil has robbed you, and you are right now wrapped up in the hands of Satan, because those who came before you led you to right here where you are. It's just like the kids who are walking around with their pants all down, and older folks can't stand to see old young people walking around with their pants down. But their young people are walking around with their pants down because of their disrespect for those who are older than them, who offer no more to them than what we have. So you start talking to one another all across the state of Mississippi. Start talking to one another. And you citizens who can't pay your bills, who got gas, electrical, and mortgages and rents that you can't pay, food that you can't pay, you stop looking at yourself as a failure. You are not a failure to this point. But there are representatives who say they can represent you, who have held themselves out, who say they want to represent you. I want you to know this. They might be sincere. They might be as honest as they possibly can, and they really want to do something for you, but they cannot. They don't have the power. The power is in you. You, the citizens. Even in Itabena. I know in Itabena it's probably hard to get anybody to come together, but you got to come together. You got to go up there and tell this mayor who is so committed to this city, so committed to you that she works without a check. You got to go and even convince her that she has got to do more. You got to convince the city councilman. You got to convince every leadership throughout every city that they got to rise up and go to those representatives and convince those representatives that they got to do everything they possibly can. And once they've done that based upon the resources that the devil has provided to them, and maybe you might not want to use the devil, you might want to say the system, has provided to them, then go the step higher. Go to the next level. You in the city, go to the next level. If there's a county, go there. After the county, which will still be not sufficient, go to your state. Every city in every state, go to your leaders and tell them that you want what God has created for you. What that unseen power has designed for you to have. And you know, because it's in your dream. It's in your dream. You demand that they go to the next source. In every state, when you've done everything for these citizens that you possibly can, and it seems as though your hands are tied, don't you tell them that you can't do anymore. And if they tell you that, citizens, you go back and say, well, you got to come out because we want people in who are willing to go further. And you don't wait till an election. We don't have years and years for this to ride. We're not talking about 2020. We're talking about right now. At least within the next year. Then you take it to the federal level. Take it to the federal level. And when you go to the federal level, you will find out that at the federal level, they are inadequately supplied to meet the needs of you, all of you, the people. The system wasn't set up for that. The system wasn't designed for that. That's why the New World Order is thinking about killing billions of you off. Because the system will not contain you. The system does not adequately prepare for you. So they say you got to die. Satan says you got to die. The rich, the most powerful people that you have given your power to, saying you got to die. And you are not being told anything except that message that comes on about the conspiracy theorists, and you've been trained not to believe that. And mostly everything that those conspiracy theorists tell you are happening. So what happens when you go to the federal level and they are inadequately supplied to meet your needs? That means that the system has to change. The system has to change. And the system will not change without you. And those of you who are in the poor city, you are the one who should be the angriest. But don't be angry and want to fight like that. Be angry and want to move up by doing something different that is not violent. Violence represents the actions of the devil. Violence represents the action of the people who have no solutions. and they will just kill you because they got nothing else to do. They don't know any better. But standing up, putting your life on the line, realizing that what God has provided, God is in charge of. And let me give you an example. Jesus Christ came to the earth. Most of you have heard about it. You don't hear this message that I'm going to tell you because the preachers don't know it. They all got together and they're telling you the story that Constantine and King James wanted you to hear, not what God wanted you to hear. They put that in the book, told you that this is God's word and nobody should ever mess with it. If they did, this would come in. This would be the situation. And as that being the situation, what you have done is discarded the absolute truth.
Listen, I'll get it back to you.
Okay. So, by them doing that, you don't know. You don't know, but Jesus said, I come to show you the way. Sure, the devil takes you on a mountain hill, bring you into his circle, and say if you become a part of his team, like they take you to make you a Rhodes Scholar, take you to a different place and teach you how to be a leader, to go into the secret societies where they teach you how to be a leader conforming to their principles. That's what they do. But Jesus said, I am the way. I am the way. Don't believe that Jesus Christ dying on the cross and you believing that Jesus Christ was the Son of God, born of a virgin, Mary, lived amongst us, crucified, dead, rose from the dead, went back to heaven, and if you believe him and talk to God in his name, that you are saved. You are not saved. You are not saved. All of those things that you do, you go through every change a person who is an atheist go through. If atheists ain't got no food, you don't have any food. Atheists have no place to live, you got no place to live. And atheists, so what does that mean? That tells you you should know that you've been tricked. But Jesus Christ said, resist all of that. Resist all of that. And if you believe that he rose from the dead, then you also believe, if you resisted, that if this world and its leadership decide that you must die, it would be nothing but an awakening from a nightmare here on the face of this earth. And you will be awakened in that dream vision that you have already created in your own mind. So I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not there now in these cities to speak to you directly. I'm here in my kitchen. The message that I'm giving you right here is the same message that I would give you there. If you want change, if you want to see Itabena grow up, if you want to see Itabena come back and be more beautiful than it has ever been, if you want to see Sidon, if you want to see Greenwood, if you want to see Cleveland, if you want to see Detroit, if you want to see New Jersey, if you want to see LA, if you want to see Missouri, if you want to see every place where things are bad, where things are hurting, if you want to see it polished and come anew, it will be because you changed your mind, not your politician. Your politicians will never change their minds until you change your mind. You say your politician sold you out, your politician will continue to sell you out until you refuse to be sold out yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, I took a little bit of time to say these things to you. I'm going to send this to certain cities. I'm going to put it on the internet. I'm going to contact a few newspapers in different cities and see if I can get them to at least print a statement whereby you will know that this video is on YouTube and that you would watch it. And having watched it, you would share it with your friends. And there's one other thing I want you to do. After hearing this tape, I want you to go to your ministers. Your ministers say that they represent God. They are continuously talking about your soul. Remember this. The Bible says, and this part is true, can a man say he loves God whom you've never seen and can't stand the people that he see every day? I follow that with this. Can a man say he's concerned about your soul and don't care about your life? There's no way. But most preachers tell you they're talking about your soul, because talking about your life means they got to do something. You think I'm lying? Ask Charles Evans about Medgar Evers. You think I'm lying? Ask Martin Luther King Jr. III about Martin Luther King Jr. If you think I'm lying, ask Gandhi's folks about Gandhi. If you think I'm lying, ask you know who to ask. You will know the truth. And the truth will set you free. That's what we're talking about. Freedom. I want to thank you so very much. This is Eddie Mark, a spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I'm also heaven's messenger. And when I say heaven's messenger, there are things that I talk about that are carnal. But when I talk about heavenly things, I'm restricting my conversation to heavenly things that we as a people need to know of. Get your preachers out of those pulpits. Get those preachers in those streets. You are tithing, you're giving offering, and preachers are living like kings and queens across this nation. They're riding in the best, not all of them. Some of them only got 2 members. But the ones who got a lot of members, they're riding in nice cars, got nice homes, sending their kids to the best schools, and what are you happening to your kids? You put those preachers out of that pulpit and put them on the streets. Tell them they've got to be changed. And let them go out in forefront of you, because they are speaking of God. And if their faith in God is so weak, push them to the side and you step up. I want to thank you so very much for your time. Bye-bye.